Hey, trucked up guys and gals. I'm not feeling very trucked up today as I drive in my wife's Bolt, but thank goodness for my caring and merciful wife who takes care of me and loves me and lets me steal her car for 3 days, leaving her without a vehicle walking because I'm a dumbass and I drove into a boulder with my truck. But here I am in her vehicle, able to come on out to the Everything Electric event. This is my second time out for it. I did it in 2023, and I'm here to tell you that I won't be coming again. And if you want to know why, well, I've got a lot of compelling reasons, and I think you'll agree with me by the end of this video. So let's get into it from my little Bolt, or my wife's Bolt, and let's get totally trucked up anyway. So I think it's time for a rant. I won't even get into the rant with my typical main camera that I'm filming with. I did 3 shoots where I lost all of my footage. And the footage that I do have, you might not be seeing because of Everything Electric. And we'll get into that as well. Trust me, when you hear all of this, you go, what a bunch of dipshits. Well, let's start off right from the get-go before you even walk into the building. So, when I talk to the exhibitors later on, this is a little bit of a roundabout, but you'll understand why. So when I talked to the exhibitors later on, they all said about the same thing. Well, 2024 wasn't bad. Now, I missed 2024. I was supposed to go to the Everything Electric, which was still, I think, the fully charged in 2024, and I was supposed to go to that. I couldn't because I was going to be on the road with my Canada-wide trucked up coffee stop tour where I went province to province, the entire country other than Newfoundland, and I do apologize, Newfoundland. I will get back there one day. But before I left, I got COVID. And it pushed back all my dates, so even if I would have been able to go, I couldn't have gone because I was sicker than a dog, and I ended up leaving on my trucked up tour 5 weeks late anyway. But when I got to this event, I'd already been there on the Saturday first, but I'm going to tell you about today, because today's a perfect example of the hypocrisy of different aspects of this event. So the numbers are way down because I only have 2023 to compare to. I wasn't here for 2024. So in my mind, I remember 2023 and I went for 2025, and it was like someone had taken all the league players out and left the bowling alley only, because you could have thrown a 10-pinner down the middle of that place. There was not a crowd, let me tell you that. But they decided to make one at our expense. A lot of times when you arrive at an event like this, you'll have, you know, they'll just let you in early. You know, they'll say, well, not all the exhibits are set up. Sometimes they'll make you wait at the beginning, but they didn't even let everybody wait inside. And they had a master plan to this. So they kept everybody outside of the convention center, standing on the sidewalk and going down the street in Vancouver. So that wasn't good. And a lot of people who are from out of town are used to more balmy weather, and it's been in very balmy weather that we've had in Canada, but for the first week it got very cold. So it's, I mean, relatively speaking, I was in shorts and a t-shirt and I was still sweating, but I'm a big fat fart. So let's not take that into consideration. I was like, well, join the line. And I look, and there's no freaking line. There isn't a line. What line? She goes, you're gonna make the line. Well, I guess I was the line. Now later on, it became more line-ish, and then they staged their masterful maneuver, and that was they knew that nobody was going to their freaking event. But if they held everybody up at the door, out came all the film cameras. Oh yeah, everybody wearing their Everything Electric t-shirts, and they all came out with their film cameras, and they filmed this big crowd coming up to get in the event, waiting to enter, because there was this huge demand to get in. It just reminds me of somebody's inauguration. You know what I mean? A little bit staged. Needless to say, once you got into the place, it was just downhill after that. Both days that I was there, it was a complete, pardon me, it was a shit show. And let me explain why. Number one, Everything Electric, or what was once known as Fully Charged, is it's its own YouTube channel. It's an influencer channel, and it does other things. It's got all kinds of other aspects to it, but you know, it's a YouTube channel. You'd think as a YouTube channel that they would go interview each one of their exhibitors. They'd go to each booth and they'd highlight them all. Nope, they spend all their time highlighting their big-ass sponsors, and boy, did they give them a rosy look. Like BC Hydro, for example. They don't talk about all the crap BC Hydro's done wrongly for multiple years that's got them in hot water, and how they shut down small energy projects and independent development of energy projects for communities and decentralization off of systems and the whole Site C dam fiasco. No, we won't get into any of that. We want to have a happy face on because they're a sponsor. So they got lots of coverage leading up to this event. All the sponsors got lots of coverage, but the exhibitors, the people, the bread and butter, the ones buttering your bread, no, nothing like that. So they rely on people like me, influencers, to come in and cover things. You don't want to just have an event, because then all you do is you get the people who bought the tickets. You want to have the media show up. You want to send a message out there. The whole idea of Everything Electric is to spread the news, to get people excited about everything electric, beyond just EV trucks, beyond just EVs in general. But when you do something like that, you also dilute your audience. You do need people to come and cover all those different aspects and get the word out to as many people as possible. Yeah, well, no, that didn't happen. In fact, when I went in 2023, there were like lineups of influencers, all the big names. You saw them at the event. It was really awesome, and you could engage with all these people. And then all the influencers were there covering it. In 2025, nobody. And there's a reason for that, because nothing was done to support the influencers. In fact, it was like it was set up to shut down influencers. So the first thing is you start walking up to booths. Why do people go there? Well, I'm just going to look from an EV perspective, an EV truck perspective. Why do people go to these events? Because they want to see what's coming, what's new, what's being done, and get questions that they have about all this stuff answered, right? Yeah, so shouldn't there be a requirement that for anybody who's going to be there, you don't have just hired a marketing company that doesn't even work for the underlying company to be pamphlet princesses? Because basically you got a whole bunch of very young, very attractive looking males and females with pamphlets, basically models with manuals, and none of them there work for the underlying companies. There were some exceptions. There seemed to be some people actually from Ford. I'm going to give some credit to Ford here. They actually had Ford people, but they were marketing people. You didn't have anyone technical who can answer a lot of questions there. No, nobody like that. And I think Kia actually had some people there that actually knew what they were talking about. So that was cool. So but all the major OEMs, the legacy auto, didn't an ounce of investment into this. They just wanted you to buy stuff. Here's the sales pamphlet. Here's a card for one of our sales representatives. So you should have the ability to go in there and get your questions answered about those manufacturers making those EV products. Nobody. So they didn't invest any energy into actually fulfilling the needs of the people who were going there and spending their weekend and buying the tickets and going in there to discover and get questions answered. Screw them, buy the car or buzz off. Here, go have a test drive, and here's a marketing brochure. There should be a requirement that someone's there to represent the company, that someone is there to answer the bigger questions. And who is going to ask most of those questions? Well, probably influencers, right? And why did they stop going? Well, that concerted effort that I talked about. So now you're going up to all these different legacy automakers, almost all of them, the big wigs, didn't have anyone there. I will give credit, Tesla did. Yes. Yeah, Tesla actually had informed people there. So it's not just credit to Kia and Ford. I got to give credit to Tesla because they had people who actually knew stuff. Toyota. Walked up to the Toyota booth, and you know, so how fast does the BZ thing actually charge at? Have you guys improved the charge speed? Oh, I can't answer that, but I've got a brochure. The simplest, stupid, simple questions, unable to answer them by anybody present. So now, who are the influencers going to interview? Okay. Not them. But it gets even worse. So now you go to the other businesses they're actually way more innovative, and they've got the president there, they've got their chief engineer, they got their technician, they got everyone there, and they want to talk, and they're ready to work with any influencer, with media. They're there for all the right reasons, and they're there for customers. They're there to answer any questions about what they're doing. So now we're going out of the big legacy mega players who invested, you know, put 4 cars out there and send in an events team. So now we move on to the people who actually are invested, put their hearts and souls into it, bring like, you know, vehicles from across the country, huge efforts to set up their booths. They bring in their whole team. They bring everyone to answer all the questions. They make a commitment to Everything Electric, and they're ready. And in come the media and the influencers to interview them, because, well, they're the only people who actually are smart enough there to answer any questions. And you go and you set up to interview them, and Everything Electric starts blaring out copyrighted music over the loudspeakers. And if that's not good enough and you can get them to turn it off, good old Volkswagen decided to put up boom boxes all around their exhibit playing copyrighted music. Do you know what that means? You can't record anything. You can't do any interviews. So for 3 days, no influencer could do an interview on the first floor of the entire main exhibit where all the test drives were happening, where all the big players were, and then all these secondary bigger players were, because if I recorded an interview, I got a whole bunch of copyrighted music in the background, which would get me copyright struck with YouTube and my video taken down, or my channel taken down if I get too many strikes, and demonetized. So that's nice. So I actually went over, I got Everything Electric to turn the frickin' music off for a short period, but it seemed deliberate. Like, why are you playing this stuff? Why are you having it there? Don't you want coverage for all of these people who've invested their time and their energy and their money and put everything into your exhibits, and their life blood is on the line, and they've got influencers coming to interview them and tell their story and put them on channels like this one? I'm a tiny channel. I'm a bad example, but the big channels stopped coming. They're not at these events because they're sick and tired of it, because they had to deal with it last year and the year before. So they're done. So you're going to see bits and pieces and people who managed to squeeze in a bit, and we did have some bigger influencers there. Thank you for being there, guys. Like, it matters to cover this stuff and get the information out. People want it. Not everybody can go to these 4 or 5 events across the whole globe. So it relies on other sources to be able to do it. So anyway, grudgingly, the music turned off for a very short period of time, at which time VW cranked up their boom boxes. So I went over to the VW booth and I said, do you mind? I'm currently doing an interview right over here. He goes, well, just move over a little further. I said, what? Move over a little further? You're playing copyrighted music, so social media influencers can't record interviews because your music's in the background, and YouTube won't allow those videos to be monetized or loaded. That's not my problem. Yeah, I love Robert Llewellyn. I love what he does. He wasn't there. He didn't come to Canada. His co-founder guy, I don't know what his name is. He blamed it all. The absolute abysmal attendance wasn't actually that abysmal. It's not a big deal. Yeah, well, maybe not compared to 2024 because it already started to slide off a cliff. But compared to 2023, it was an exodus from the event. But his answer was, oh, it's just Canada. They got rid of the EV incentives. Nobody's buying them anymore. So he started talking FUD. He actually started to talk about the very garbage we've been listening to, which isn't true. So, you know, Europe went through that. Britain went through that. Europe stopped all the incentives and things dropped off for a while because no one knew if they were coming back. If they were going to come back, why would I throw away free money? So I'll just wait it out and see if they're going to come back. When they didn't come back, they went, okay, well, there's no more money to get. I'm going to go buy that EV now because I'm not going to get any money anyway. And EV sales went skyrocketing back up in Europe. And it's going to happen exactly the same way here. And here is the co-founder of Everything Electric spewing out this vile, putrid garbage about why his event's down. No, your event's down because you're not supporting the exhibitors. You're not supporting the influencers. You're not thinking about how can we really use this event to get as much information out there as possible and help all of these companies that we're showcasing today. Nope, No, they're just going to talk about their sponsors. Well, I'll tell you, I'll never be back. And here's the other thing. Half of the exhibitors that I talked to, they're not going back because they've had it. Attendance was down, investment in them was down, promotion in them was down. It's not about the event, it's about who's at the event. And you can showcase a building and you can sell a bunch of tickets and you can get people in it, but if you're wanting to spread a message, you better do a damn better job than what Everything Electric did this weekend. I feel sad and bad for all of those amazing businesses that are really moving the dial. They are changing Canada for the better. All of the exhibitors at Everything Electric, thank you. Thank you from every Canadian for making a difference and investing your life into something that you believe in and moving that needle forward. All of you are doing that. Even the damn legacy auto companies that were too lazy to actually have real people that work for these companies on hand. At least you had the EVs there, at least you had people out for test drives, at least you had the vehicles for them to sample, and you had the brochures. Well, that's a start. I think it comes down to this. We have to remember what our intention is, and that we shouldn't get too big for our own britches. What Fully Charged and now Everything Electric has done is so positive for helping the world move towards a sustainable future. I think more so than a lot of channels, but it's a channel. And when we make that leap from being a YouTube channel or an organization that reaches out through social media, and we go into the events end of things, we have to embrace others. Like, for example, if I was Trucked Up EVs put out a Trucked Up event, it would be my responsibility to reach out to influencers and to welcome them to be part of that process. So if I tried to make it just my thing, then I wouldn't put out advertisements and set up booths and make efforts to bring influencers into the event and only to restrict them because, well, it's our channel, make your own. So you have to make a decision. It's either one or the other. And the message that Robert Llewellyn and the team's been delivering for a long time is, let's get the message out there. Let's include everyone else. So have they got too big for their own britches? Did they deliberately try to make it more difficult for influencers to do interviews with all these companies? Or did they struggle to get people to actually attend and they had to lower the bar because they couldn't get the big auto makers to come in with a team and with the vehicles, and they had to, you know, were some of those actually just dealerships that were being representing those particular companies, and it wasn't the national brand of that company representing them? Who knows? If I had somebody send over a comment, you know, I love Trucked Up EVs videos, I watch every one of them, and I responded, yeah, I know, they're pretty great. Yeah, I'd be out of business in no time flat, because every single one of us on YouTube, every single one of us depends upon you. You make that decision. You're the one that matters. We produce the content, we produce the messaging. You look at a thumbnail, you look at a title, and you decide if it's worth clicking on, and then once you clicked on it, we better meet our promise of whatever we said in that thumbnail and in that title, and we better deliver. And you're going to determine our success or failure. And that's the way it should be. We should never get to the point where we're actually laughing in the face of our subscribers because of their attention span, or we're laughing in the face of our success. We're flipping a bird to our success, saying, well, you know, we can do what we want now. Never. Now, that doesn't mean we have to go off message, and that doesn't mean we have to break our principles. We should stick by our principles. I actually get really tired of hearing people make a principled statement and then break it within weeks. We have to stick by our guns, be principled, be honest, and know that when people watch our videos that we're speaking from that place of principle, and that we represent exactly what you expect. When you click on Trucked Up EVs, you expect to get something. When you click on Fully Charged or Everything Electric, you expect to get something. Well, when we go to the events, we should expect the same thing. Those events have to deliver that same promise, those same principles. And what I'm seeing at this event, I got the feeling that they just didn't want other social media there. and especially with some of the comments and the things that were done. They also want to demonstrate the product. They want to be able to show and tell. They want to be very able to bring you over and point your finger at the funny thing and the spooky thing and the thing that goes you know, you want to be able to see it and visualize and touch it and smell it, or, you know, lick it. I don't know. But you want to be able to do those things, and that means you have to create an environment where those things can happen. And that didn't exist at the Everything Electric show. You know, it was like it wasn't either. Was it for a channel that understands all the copyright restrictions and all the difficulties associated with making sure your content is safe and above board on YouTube? It just seems perplexing to me that an influencing channel, a YouTube channel, would not know that that would be a problem. If you were at the event and you think, wow, man, stop shitting on these people, it was way better than that, it was fantastic, I learned tons of stuff, well, please let me know in the comments and share what you learned, because some of the exhibits, as I tried to cover when I wasn't being copyright struck by Everything Electric or by Volkswagen, that's exactly what I found too. There was so many amazing, wonderful stories to tell. And when I get home, I recorded 6 separate interviews. You might see 2 of them. See what I can salvage. I might try to use some AI. If anyone knows about AI, removing background audio without costing me a fortune, if there's some free solution or simple solution for that, let me know. I'm gonna dig into it once I get back and see if I can come up with a solution, because I really want you to see this content. It's really great content. Too bad it's destroyed by background copyright music. So looking forward to your comments, looking forward to your criticism. Always want to hear back when I do rants, but rants are how I'm feeling. When I get pissed off or when I'm excited about something, out comes a rant. Well, here's another rant. Let me know what you think in the comments, and always thank you so much for watching and helping support this little channel. It makes a big difference, but I'm going to speak my mind. I'm always going to be honest. I'm not in this to stroke you know, some sponsor ego or sponsors that make it on my channel because I already believe in them, and that's not going to change. So thank you again. Stay totally trucked up. Talk to you soon.